Bye. So he comes up and he comes and sits at my table and he says, Ron, I don't want to say homeboy's name yet right now. I mean, y'all know the names, but Ron, such and such is going to come. I called him Mike, I think, in the other video. Yeah, Mike. Mike is going to come and he's going to try to stab you tonight. And I'm just like, the only thing I could say to my childhood friend, I called him Damon. Sorry, I should have been using names. The only thing I could say to Damon was, get the fuck out of here, bro. And I remember just seeing his eyes like he was hurt when I said that. And I only said that at the time is because, I didn't want nothing to happen to him. And it was just my only reaction. But, yeah. So he tells me that Mike's going to come stab me tonight after chow. So I don't tell nothing to my peoples. I don't say nothing. My peoples ask, what was that about? Nothing. And at the time we're on the fifth tier, and Mike and Damon are on the fourth tier. And so, when we get back, I purposely lag behind everyone. Like I'm trying to be last going up to the tier. Because what the cop does is he comes up there on the tier and he starts locking. You key lock in San Quentin, and then they push a bar. So he comes in and he key locks every cell door. So I'm trying to stay the fuck out because I want him to come and stab me. So I get to stay out, and my people, everybody gets locked up pretty much. And the only people that are out like porters and shit like that. And so I'm out in the fifth tier and I'm sitting there, and I'm standing there, and my peoples, they have little lights in front of every cell. We were deep. So we had the whole front bar on the fifth tier. I'm talking about we were deep. You know what I'm saying? You never seen this many Samoans and Asians and homies like this ever this deep in one area. So some of the Usos over there, they had knocked out the lights, days before on the in front of the cell. So it's dark on the front bar. So it's really dark there. So I'm standing there in the dark. And I see Damon climb through the bars. And people who have been to San Quentin, they know what I'm talking about, climbing through the bars, because they lock off tiers. And so he climbs through the bars, and and I can see him because he's walking in light. I'm standing in dark. So he comes my way, and he gets down there, and he kind of stands back about 5-7 feet or whatever, 10 feet, whatever. He's standing back, and he's got his beanie on, and he's got this jacket on, and all that, and he's trying to be incognito and shit or whatever. And he's standing there, right? And I'm just standing there on the I'm ready. I'm ready to get busy. You know what I mean? It is what it is. Like I said, I'm just off my fucking rocker, man. So living and dying doesn't matter to me right now, And so Damon asked me, hey, Ron, is it going to be like this? What's up? Is it going to be like this? Are we going to always have a problem? And I told him straight to his face in that moment, man. I said, hey, look, I don't care what prison you go to, man, wherever we're at, you be watching for me to get off that bus. Because I'm going to bring it to you every time, man. I don't give a fuck. And he was like, and I could see, like, he had his hands in his pocket. He was like, it's like that? I said, it's like that, man. And I don't know why he didn't. He just shook his head and he turned around and walked away. And that was it. He left. And from what I heard, man, is that his own people pumped him up to go do that. They felt that he needed to handle that. So, but he didn't. I don't know what happens if you don't handle that with whatever. But anyways, so yeah, eventually they get transferred out. As I said, only 3 of us went there because one of our co-defendants had stayed back. The one that had took the stand, he had stayed back. His lawyer filed an appeal motion, and they went in front of another judge. They were trying to get an appeal for a new trial. So he didn't make it to San Quentin for at least a month. It was pretty long, and usually you're in San Quentin for like 30 days or whatever, and you're out of there. And so my co-defendant, my other two co-defendants, Damon and I'm trying to remember the names I gave him. Damon and Dave. I forget. I forget what I called him. Anyways, so I'm just reliving this shit is hard, y'all. Anyway, so they left, and what I did is, because I got word that Mike left paperwork on my co-defendant because he took the stand. So he left paperwork, and like I said, they're all white. So he left paperwork on him as a snitch. So I decided to wait for him to come to San Quentin, because I don't know why, I just thought I was going to help him. And so I purposely went to the hole twice. And because I was in the cell with my cellie, and I asked my cellie, man, if I don't want to leave here, how do I stay here longer? And he says, well, every time you go to the hole, they take your paperwork, your folder, your counselor takes your paperwork, and they put it on the bottom of the stack. And when he told me that, I was like, oh, for real? So without saying anything to him, I got up, and I remember I had put a bunch of clothes in a pile at my cell door, and I just fucking put baby oil on it and shit, and I set it on fire. I set my whole cell on fire. Not my whole cell, but I set the cell on fire. My cellie's like, what the fuck are you doing, Oos? Like, what are you doing? Don't trip, man. When the police come, just stay back. That's what I told him. So I set this motherfucking clothes on fire and shit, and I see the gunner running on the catwalk, and I see him radio, fire on the 5th tier. And, they come, they're like, put it out. And I'm like, nah, fuck you, you know what I mean? And they're like, put it out. I'm like, fuck you. So they another guard comes with a fire extinguisher, hits the fire, hits me with the fire extinguisher, sprays me and shit, lay me down, drag me out the cell, take me to the hole. So, my wife and my kid, they come to see me, and they're like, why are we visiting you over here? And I'm just like, I don't know, they moved me. I never liked telling her what was going on. I didn't want her to worry and stress. So I come back, I spend some time in the hole. I'll tell you guys more about it. I come back to Badger section, and motherfucker still ain't there, you know what I mean? I'm still waiting. A couple weeks go by. So I'm like, fuck, man, I gotta do something, you know what I mean? So I pick an argument with one of the COs one day coming back from the chow, and I just start talking shit to him, you know what I mean? Like, fuck you and all that, and it gets heated and everything, because let me tell you about these COs in San Quentin. They ain't no joke, man. They from the streets, man. They from the Bay Area, man. They walk around talking about, what's up, blood? They talk like us and everything, So, like, these COs ain't no punks, man. They'll fucking kick your TV in. They'll fucking throw your fucking property off the TV. They don't care, man. They're fucking off the hook. So I'm arguing with the CO, right? And he's like, put your hands on the bars, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, fuck you, make me, punk. And, he starts pushing me against the bars and shit. So I got my hands on the bars, right? And I'm standing there. And then he's like, put one on your back. He's trying to cuff me up, But I got a death grip on the bars, right? And he's trying to pull my arm, you know what I mean? And he's like trying to pull it. He ain't stronger than me. So he pulls his nightstick out, and he starts fucking whacking my arms hella hard. Bow, bow, trying to pull my arm off. And finally another CO comes over, and they rough me up a little bit. They get me cuffed, and they bring me down. They take me to the hole and shit. And so I spent some time in the hole again, and then I come back. I don't know the time frames, y'all. So, but I spent some time in there, and then I come back to the unit again, and I'm talking about maybe 2 days later, not even, or so, you know what I mean? Like, really fast, my other co-defendant shows up, and the Usos let me know, because I had let them know, I'm waiting for him. So he comes, and he's celled up with a white dude and everything. I get down to his cell, and I'm able to go to his cell and talk to him. And I go to his cell, and he's in the cell with this white guy. and because he's white, right? So I go, hey, do you have anything else in you besides white? And he's like, yeah, I'm a little, I'm this percentage Indian. Why, Ron? And I said, you need to get your paperwork changed. You need to go down as other or AMI, you know what I'm saying, under as an Indian, because I know the white boys are going to get him, right? So his cellie, being white, gets up and he's like, hey, excuse me, you know what I mean? Like, all respect and all. He's like, hey, you can't be doing that. You know what I'm saying? That's not how it go down. He came in like that, you know what I mean? I don't want to see him get hurt, is what he said. And I basically just told him, man, don't even trip, bro, because I'm moving in the cell, you moving out. And that's what I told him. And he was like, you can't do that. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, watch me. So I told my co-defendant, you know what I mean, just hold tight. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to move in with you. So I'm not going to tell you how everything went down. I didn't do nothing shady, no fucking snitching or nothing, man. Like I said, we would stick there, me and my folks. So we had a little leeway. That's how prison goes. And we know how to pull some strings. So I talked to somebody, within my car that I needed to talk to, and I let him know the whole situation, everything that was going on, and how I know that they're going to try to get him, and I need to help him get his paperwork. Anyways, I explained to him. So it was just a conversation between me and Mauso, and we made it happen. So we moved the white dude out of the cell. I move in, and I'm in there. So immediately I start telling my co-defendant, look, let's strap up. You know what I mean? It's on. So, we get a couple pieces, and I tell him it's going to go down. It's going to go down. And I'm telling you, man, I moved in there and it was on, man. As soon as the doors cracked, well, let me back up. That same white dude that had came talk to me about my other co-defendant, Mike, he came up to tell me about that. He showed up at this door again, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, whatever, it is what it is. And he's like, bro, this is a wood cell. You need to get the fuck out of this cell. And I said, nah, this Uso cell. This is my cell. And he's like, all right. And so he tells my co-defendant, who's my cellie at the time now, he tells him, hey, listen here, white boy. He lets him know, I don't give a fuck what you think you're doing, but this motherfucker's gonna get you caught up and you're gonna get dealt with. And so he leaves. And so like I said, we strapped up, and chow time comes. Time for chow, you know what I mean? Time to go to chow. And the doors crack. And 4 skinheads, probably wouldn't be right to say what they represent, but I can say skinheads at least. 4 down ass motherfuckers though, show up at my cell. And the white dude, he's standing at my cell and he's trying to talk to my cellie, to my co-defendant. And I step in front of the door, and he's ignoring me, and he's trying to look at my co-defendant. And he's like, what are you doing, white boy? Letting them know and shit. He's like, you ain't supposed to be selling up with this dude. And I said, this is how it is. And then he finally gives his attention to me, and he's like, hey man, this ain't your cell. And I said, oh, this Uso cell, man. I tell him straight up like that. And he says, I'm coming in there to talk to this dude, this white boy in the cell. And I said, it's cool. I don't mind you coming in here and to talk to him, but the rest of these motherfuckers is gonna stay outside, And he didn't care. This motherfucking white boy was down as fuck. I'm telling you, man. So I step out the cell and I let him go in the cell, you know what I mean? I already have ran my co-defendant down. You do what you gotta do, man. You don't let nobody, punk you, you know what I'm saying? So the white dude goes in the cell with my co-defendant, and I'm standing outside of the cell, and I got these other skinhead dudes like standing there just mugging me, we're just kind of looking at each other. And I can hear dude in there telling my cellie, like, what the fuck you think you doing, man? And then, like, you white. And I ran my co-defendant down, and so my co-defendant tells him, no, I'm not, I'm Indian. He says, you're Indian? He says, motherfucker, you look like me. You got fucking blonde hair, blue eyes like me, motherfucker. You ain't Indian. And he says, yeah, I am. I'm Indian. So, it is what it is. And then the white dude says, motherfucker, you ain't no motherfucking Indian, bro. We gonna find out. We gonna find out what you really are. Just remember that you came in here as white and you down as white. So as he's talking to him, though, all I hear is, because I'm looking at these white dudes that are surrounding me, right? All I hear is, hey, Oos, everything all right? And when I turn around, I'm not gonna say who these brothers are, but a lot of black folks from the Bay. They were deep, standing right behind us. And they were like, you good, Oos? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. They were like, why are all these white boys standing here around your cell? And I'm like, oh, they needed to holler. And he was like, all right, we're going to wait right here until y'all done. So the whites, they kind of got a little nervous, you know what I mean? Because, the blacks pretty much were the deepest here in this place. So, no one wants to kick off a war. So they hurry up and got up out of there. They left and shit. And I ended up meeting this dude, this brother that was checking up on me, man. And I'm going to say his name because, I got nothing but love for him. He's from the Bay. He's from Frisco. His name's Hugh Baby. And, later on that night, Hugh Baby shot a kite to me, and he was actually married to a Samoan woman and all that. So, he had a lot of love for our people. So anyways, they left. And then, so check this out, man. It's like the fucking movies, man. I got to keep on watching, y'all, because I don't know if it's going to shut off on you, and I'm going to be over here talking to myself. So we still got to go to chow, right? So I tell my co-defendant, let's go, man. You know what I mean? Let's roll, man. We're going to roll to chow. So what I didn't tell y'all is that my people had stepped back from me. Something that I really didn't know, though, at the time. They stepped away from me. They, when I moved into the cell, like I said, I only had a conversation with one person. So the rest of my folks didn't know what was going on. All they knew is I decided to move out of a USO cell and move into a white boy cell. That's the way they felt. So they weren't fucking with me. So they weren't going to walk with me to chow or anything like that. So anyway, so I was on my own, you know what I mean? And so I'm walking with my co-defendant, who's fucking white, who we're trying to get him down as a AMI, as an Indian. We're walking down the stairs from the 5th tier, okay? And we got our pieces in our pants and shit, and we're walking down, just me and him, and we're like the last ones coming down. And as we're coming down, that white dude that came to my cell to talk to me before twice, he's at the bottom of the fucking stairs right there at the 1st tier, and he's standing there. And this dude looks crazy, man. He's got his whole forehead blasted, and it's a big old graveyard on his fucking forehead. And, he's got a bunch of tattoos and shit like that. And he just looks fucking nuts, right? He looks like Charles Manson. I'm serious. And he's standing at the bottom of the stairs, and right behind him, man, is fucking, the White House. I mean, there was just so many fucking woods posted along the fucking wall down there, right? And they're all standing there, and he's standing at the stairs blocking our way as we're coming down the stairs. So we come down the stairs, and I get down there, and I keep my co-defendant behind me, and he's like, what the fuck you doing, bro? I didn't tell you all this, but he knows me. He knows me from childhood. He's from my area, so he knows who I am, okay? But anyways, he's like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? To me, And I got my co-defendant behind me, I'm keeping him behind me. I'm just playing captain or whatever. I don't know. I'm just stupid. So he's behind me. And so this dude, he's like, what the fuck you doing, man? You trying to kick something off here? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, nah, man. I just feel like what's happening is wrong. I tell him straight up, you know what I mean? And, this dude ain't white. He's Indian. So he's like, okay, like pretty much like, all right, whatever, So he looks over my shoulder at him, at my co-defendant. He looks over my shoulder at my co-defendant, and this is what he says to him. He says, listen here, white boy. He says, I don't give a fuck what prison you go to or anything like that, man. You know, I'm telling you right now, wherever you go, you a snitch and you gonna get dealt with wherever you go. And then he looks at me and he says, I don't want to say too much, y'all, but because he knows me, so he knows who I am. So he says to me, he says, Ron, I don't know why you defending a snitch, why you standing up for him, but he's a piece of shit. And you're gonna get yourself and your people caught up. That's love. Let me tell y'all something. What he just said to me is love, even though it don't sound like that. He's trying to help me and school me. So anyways, you hear the Woods too. They're like, what's up, Wood? What's up? Like, they ready to ride. They got, the young guys right there. They're ready to ride on us. What's up, Wood? And he's like, it's good, man. Let's go. Let's go to chow. So yeah, they all take off. They go to chow and all that, and we continue to chow and everything. So basically, I don't know what the mindset was on the white boys' side or whatever, and how much weight that man carried, you know what I mean? But they listened to him, and they pretty much left us alone. After that, I had to go through some things. So what I had to do in order to get him switched over to, with the AMIs, right? With the Indians was this. So basically, I was only given by my homeboy, my people. Like I said, see, there's just so much that happened, man. I'm leaving so much out, but I wanted to give you guys some of this because you guys didn't get to finish it. So I will make this into a whole thing, eventually. But anyway, so I went through a lot by getting involved with this, because regardless of anything, he was labeled as a snitch in prison. There was paperwork on him, right? He took the stand and he testified. So, in prison, that's a no-no, right? So basically how I felt about the whole situation was this, that he did take the stand, but what he did was he told the truth about what happened, as far as my part, because I didn't, I was being accused of a lot of shit that I didn't do. So anyways, so I felt it was wrong to label him as a snitch, you know what I mean? But it doesn't matter in prison. You take the stand, you talk to the cops, whatever, there's paperwork on you, you're a snitch, bro, and that's what's going to happen to you. So anyways, though, so what I had to do, I had a time limit to be in the cell with my co-defendant, with this dude, okay? So I only had a little bit of time by certain, my folks. And like I told you guys, that my people really didn't know what was going on. So it was just off the hook. At one point in time, they shunned me. They wouldn't even talk to me. Okay. So, they were even having a meeting one time. This is how I knew that there was an issue. We went to the yard and it was split yards because most of my Usos were on the 5th tier. I was now on the 4th tier. So when yard goes out here in reception and badger section, we had our own yard right outside the section. So when it goes out, it's a split yard. There's a gate between 2 yards, but we all can see each other, 5th tier and 4th tier. So we went out to yard one day, and when we went out there, I saw a couple of my Usos that, I was cool with. Well, I thought I was cool with. And I was like, hey, what's up? You know what I mean? Trying to say what's up to them. And they just ignored me. And then they went and, had their little meeting, because this is how it is in San Quentin. I'll tell y'all more about San Quentin, man, to get down there. The politics are strong there and, in this area, right? So they go have their little meeting or whatnot, and I'm like, oh, that's how it is? Me, motherfucker ain't gonna say what's up? So I'm over here on this other side, on the 4th tier. There's no Usos or nothing, and it's just me and my co-defendant, so we're just hanging out. And the Usos, they approached me on the fence, right? And, I'm like, man, what's up, man? Y'all tripping or something? And then they were like, yeah, man, why you think you could just go move in with a white boy? You know what I'm saying? What's up with you? You know what I mean? And so I'm listening to him. I'm not saying nothing, you know what I mean? And one of my Usos on the other side, I didn't really know him, but these are my peoples. So one of the Usos on the other side, he was like, "Yeah, motherfucker, what's wrong with you?" He starts talking to me all crazy and shit. And so I flash on him. I'm like, "Bitch," you know what I mean? Like I'm straight up just going off on him. Like, "Man, fuck you, man. I don't give a fuck." You know what I'm saying? And and then and then some of the Usos were like, hey, hold on, man. Let him speak. You know what I mean? They want me to say my part. So I just ignore old boy, you know what I mean? He want to see me and shit, you know what I mean? He want to get down with me. He's heated. And so I'm talking to the other Uso that knows me, and he's just like, "Man, tell me what's up, Ron, man, because we ain't understanding what the fuck you doing." And so I just basically told him like this. I said, "Man, do you think that I have the power to move, to do things, to do whatever I want here?" And he had to really think about it, you know what I'm saying? So I left it at that, you know what I mean, with him. So, they were confused, but they had to realize that, you know what I'm saying, things are happening without them knowing. You don't always have to be in the fucking know, you know what I'm saying? So anyhow, so what I had to do to get back on track, what I had to do to get my co-defendant to be accepted by the Indians is this Indian dude who was on death row for years, I don't know, maybe 15 years, 20 years, something like that. He was on death row and he got his sentence commuted, and he fought the court system himself, and he got a sentence commuted. So he was a lifer now. So he was there in our section. So what I had to do is I had to go talk to him. And so I went and talked to him, and I said, "Hey, man, this is what's going on. My co-defendant, he's got a little bit of Indian in him. He's Blackfoot Indian, you know what I'm saying? He knows nothing about the culture, nothing, you know what I mean? But this is what's happening and why I'm approaching you." I kept it real with him. I told him everything that I could tell him about my case and what my co-defendant did, to help me, because of the fact that it was all getting blamed on me, and how he risked his life for me to get on stand and all that. And so basically the Indian dude said basically like that, "Look, bring your paperwork to me. I'm talking about your trial transcripts of everything." So I brought up, man, I'm talking about I had stacks of trial transcripts, and I got it to him. And he kept my stuff for like a few days, and sent word to me to come talk to him again. So when I went back to him, he says, I looked over all y'all paperwork, and I agree, you know what I mean, that, it's not, the circumstances aren't the way they're being presented. So he agreed. And so basically what he told me is this. He said, "Look, we will accept him here, but when he goes to the next prison, he's on his own. That's the best I can do for you." And he just said, "Under the circumstances, I sympathize and I realize that." And he said, "And you need to get the fuck out of that cell so I can move an Indian brother in there with him to start schooling him and running him down about our people." So I was like, "For sure, I appreciate it." And so it went from that, you know what I mean? I went back to the cell. I told my co-defendant, "I'm going to be moving in the next few days. You're on your own, bro. We ain't fucking with each other no more, even on the yard. So what's up? You know what I mean? All that is cool. But you an Indian now. You riding with them." And my advice to him was this: they only accepted you here. And so the white boys, I'm sure, went to the Indians to make sure what's going on. And they found out, yeah, they accepted them. So like I said, nobody wants to start a war. So basically, the Indians accepted him there, but when he goes to the next prison, he's on his own. So what I told my co-defendant is this: when you leave here and the next prison you go to, they're going to try to put you in a white cell. So when you get there, you let them know when they take you, when you get there to reception, to the R&R, you let them know that you run with Indians, but when they try to put you in the cell with the white dude, you let them know, man, that there's going to be problems if they don't put you in with an Indian, you know what I'm saying? So from what I heard, I got word back. He went to Corcoran and he handled his business, They did try to put him in a cell with a white dude, and, he raised enough ruckus or whatever to get accepted by the Indians there. He had to produce his paperwork to them. They had to decide as a whole if it was okay, to accept in the car. Because when you accept someone in your car who has issues or anything like that, you're accepting his issues and that whatever repercussions come with it. You know what I mean? So they have to be willing to put their lives on the line for him. So, it was cool to hear that they accepted him when he went to Corcoran and all that. I fucked up because I stayed there for so long. My points went up higher and higher. So that meant that I was going to go to a 180 design and I was going to sit on a level 4 for a while. And I just kind of I did all that, you know what I'm saying? And but I never fucked with him again. I never, we'd see each other on the yard in San Quentin, but it was a cool but I didn't sit there and chop it up with him. I got, back right with my Usos, you know what I mean? Like they understood what happened. And so shit like that goes down like that. And I ended up staying there a little bit longer because my file was on the fucking bottom of the fucking pile. And so I went to High Desert after that. That's pretty much it. Little background on what's going on with my co-defense. I haven't talked to any of them. When I first got out, I talked to one, two. He was one of them. I talked to him. It's sad. The story with him is sad. I hope one day that they will be able to come and get on camera with me and we can talk with you guys. But the Indian co-defendant, my homie, he's doing real bad now. He's been back and forth to jail. He's actually in jail right now as we speak. He was the one that never been in trouble. Like I said, he owned a firearm. That's how clean his record was when this all happened. And prison fucked him up. He's got tattoos on his face. He's just he's fucked up, and it's sad. Yeah, he's actually in jail again, and before that he was homeless. So how our lives turn out, you know what I'm saying? And I have no ill will to my co-defendants or anything like that. I wish them the best, and I hope that their lives turn out better than what they are at this moment. The guy Mike that I told you guys about, we had lunch. We're actually cool, you know what I mean? He does his thing. He's very very religious, and so he lives a completely new life, and he's doing awesome, you know what I'm saying? And I'm proud of him and things like that, things that just crazy. The whole fucking thing is crazy. And so anyways, yep, that's pretty much it, what happened with the trial and everything. And then y'all know the stories, man, about me in High Desert. It was just off the hook. But so I hope that this will suffice for now as far as telling my story. There's not going to be a lot of editing. There's not going to be clips or anything like that, or reenactments or anything like that right now. Who knows? Maybe Netflix will pick it up one day, because definitely my story is like a movie. It was a pretty fucking, it was like a movie scene when we were coming down those stairs from the 5th tier in Badger section, and you just saw a sea of white faces down there and tattooed motherfuckers, and we had fucking knives in our pants. Prison is a fucking beast, dude. So anyways, man, thank you, lifers, for, always being there for me, man, and supporting this channel. I really appreciate y'all, man. The comments y'all been leaving lately, on my last few videos, I'm so humbled. I just, feel so grateful to be here and to be helping people out. I give all praises to God. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a vessel. I went through things, experiences in my life, and, I want to do some good with it. So that's why I do these things. I know there's gonna be people getting in the comments talking shit like they always do, and I just feel bad for y'all, man. If you really think that you're hurting me by calling me a murderer and things like that, you know, well, you don't even know I bullied myself for years, man. You're not bullying nobody, you know. So, with that said, man, I appreciate y'all, man. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll come out with some material, you know, some merch, you know, for lifers, for my real folks on here, you know what I mean? But until then, man, I want y'all to stay blessed with this whole thing that's going on, you know what I mean? Keep your immune system up, man, and work out. Look, work out. Don't smoke. Don't do drugs. Don't drink. You know what I mean? I know it's cool to do all that stuff and all that, man. I used to love being able to smoke my weed and all that. My picture on there is still a picture of me smoking weed. You know what I mean? That was my thing. But I haven't smoked in a long time, and I'm still paying for it with my lungs because I smoked my whole life, I think. But yeah, so keep yourself as healthy as you can, man. Your immune system up, because that's what's going to help with all this shit. You know what I'm saying? And it is what it is, man. And I love y'all, man. Y'all stay blessed, man. And you know what it is. Stay the fuck out of trouble.